Hey crafter, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be the first of a little 3-part mini series, and this series is all about stretches and strengthening exercises that can help us crafters and us crocheters. I know when I crochet, I have a tendency to get into some really bad posture and some really bad habits. Okay, if you're watching this, if you do this when you crochet, you have to leave a comment. That's how this works. If you've ever done this when you crochet, you have to leave a comment below, because here's the thing. I'm like 99.999% positive if you've crocheted, you have at some point gone into the habit of really bad posture. So in this first video of this mini series, I'm going to be showing you 9 stretches that every crocheter should do. Part 2 of this series will be some different strengthening exercises for crocheters, and then part 3 is going to be a little routine. It'll only be about 5 minutes that will put all these stretches and strengthening exercises together. Before I show you any of these 9 stretches today, I need to make some disclaimers. First of all, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trained professional or anything. This is just things that I found that have helped me. I've watched videos on these stretches, read about these stretches, but I'm not a doctor, I'm not trained or licensed to give any kind of medical advice. So that brings me to number 2. Before you do any of the stretches in this video, or before you start on really any health endeavor, always consult with your doctor first. And then lastly, proceed with these stretches at your own risk. I'm not liable if you do something crazy and you hurt yourself. Having said that, these stretches are not intense, they're very low impact, but if you experience any pain while doing these, stop immediately and talk to your doctor. All right, let's get stretching. For our first stretch, we will need either a chair back, or a wall, or a table or desk edge. And this is going to be a flexor stretch, so it's all these muscles under here that tighten when we make a fist. When we crochet, we hold our hooks, we have some tension in here, some flexion, and we need to stretch out that tension. So to do this, it's really simple. We're going to have our palms kind of flat, our fingers stretched out and relaxed. We're just going to gently push into the edge of a chair or the edge of a desk or table or a wall. And that's going to stretch all these muscles on the underside of our arm and into our palm and our hand. You can also do this by gently just grabbing your fingertips and gently pulling back. Stretch number 2 is going to stretch our extensors. So we just stretched the muscles on this side of our arm. Now it's time to stretch the muscles on this side. Our extensors are what tighten when we stretch and spread our hand and fingers back and apart. So to stretch these, it's really similar. We're going to have our hands pointing downward and just gently press into the edge of a chair or a table or a desk. And you'll feel this stretch all in the back of your arm and in the back of your hand as those extensor muscles get stretched. And just hold this in any of these stretches for about 5 to 30 seconds depending on your flexibility and how well you feel up to these exercises. Stretch number 3 is probably my favorite. I hold a lot of tension in my hands and I deal with some different pain and things in my hands, and I found that this one really helps me. This is going to be the hand tendon glide, and it's basically a series of motions that we put our hands through that's going to just move our joints, stretch our tendons, stretch the muscles, and there's 5 basic positions. So the first is just the open position. We're just kind of relaxed. You can stretch your fingers back and out a little bit if you want to stretch kind of out. So that's our first position, and we're going to do this position in between all the other ones. So we're going to start here, and then we're going to go into what's called the duck position. We're going to bend just at the base of our fingers. We're not going to bend any of these joints, and we're going to bend forward, kind of like a little duck bill, you know, like quack, quack, quack. We're keeping our fingers straight, just bending at the base. So that's position 2. Go back into position 1. Then position 3 is where we take the pads of our fingers and bring them down to the pads at the top of our palm, and we're only going to bend 2 knuckles. So we're not going to bend here, no bending there, but just bend the top 2 knuckles of your fingers down like so. Then back into our first position. Our fourth position, we're going to bend the bottom 2 knuckles of our fingers, and we're going to bring the pads of our finger to the base of our palm. So just bend over like that. We're keeping these, well, my pinky's bending a little bit there, but we're trying to keep these joints not bent, just straight and stretched out. Then open back to our first position, and our 5th and final position is bending all the joints and curling our hands into a fist. So I'll show you that all together. So we're going to start with our hands open, then bend into the duck position, hands open, bend just the top 2 joints of our fingers, hands open, bend the bottom 2 joints of our fingers, hands open, and then bend all the joints and curl our hand into a fist. Stretch number 4 is going to be reaching down our back with both of our arms. I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. With this exercise, and as with all these exercises that we're doing sitting down, you want to make sure that you're seated firmly, that your legs are shoulder width apart, your feet are planted firmly on the floor, you're not bending in your low back, you're keeping your core engaged, sitting upright. Imagine there's a string pulling you up out of your spine, out of your head. So we're sitting with good posture when we do this, and we're keeping our shoulder blades back and down. And what we're going to do is just reach up, bend at the elbow, and then reach our fingers as far back down your spine as you can, and then hold this stretch for 5 to 30 seconds. Don't forget to breathe, and on the exhale, try to get a little deeper into the stretch. Stretch number 5 is a little more advanced, and this one we're going to have a left and a right version. So the left version is we're going to take our left hand, reach it up, bend at the elbow, and bring it down, just like we did before. But then with our right hand, we're going to bring it up our back with our palm facing out, and bring your fingers together if you're able to. Now your fingers might not be able to reach, you might have to build up the flexibility, that's okay. On my left side, I can't go as far as I can with my right side. And again, as we're doing this stretch, make sure you're sitting with good posture, sitting upright, because we don't want to put any strain on our low back. Then the right-handed version, our right hand goes up and down our back. Left hand, we have our palm facing out, and catch with our fingers, and feel that stretch. And I definitely feel this one a lot in my back, and then also in my shoulders. I even feel it in my triceps a little bit. This is a great stretch. And again, if you're only able to, go to here, that's okay, go to there. Just go as far as you're able to without pain, and over time you'll be able to build up and be able to reach your fingertips together. So we've done some stretches for our hands and arms, we've done some stretches for our back and shoulders. Now it's time to get rid of some of the tension in our neck. I know I hold a lot of tension in my neck, I know a lot of people do, so these will help with that. The first one we're going to do is also going to have a left and a right version because we want to stretch balanced. So stretch number 6 is just basic neck rolls. Your neck rolls are just gonna bring our head down and forward, and we'll start going to the left and just gently roll our head around in a circle. As we do this, again, make sure you're seated firmly and that your low back is not experiencing any strain. Keep your core lightly engaged, and don't let your shoulder blades come up. Keep them down and back. And however many times we go in one direction, we need to do the same number in the other direction. So after we go to the left, we'll go to the right the same number of times. And I actually don't know how many I just did. I think that was maybe 3. So we'll do 3 while I'm sitting here, but really basic. We're not turning our head, we're just kind of tilting our head in all different directions. We're not doing this number with it at all, just kind of bending in different directions, and my ponytail is getting in my face there. And you really feel the stretch all the way around your neck. Stretch number 7 is also to help with our neck, and this is really basic, just a simple head turn. We're gonna keep sitting upright, and we want our chin to be parallel to the floor. To help with this, imagine there's a string pulling out of the top of your head, stretching you straight up. And then without tilting our head or tilting our neck, we're going to turn our chin over the left shoulder. And again, hold this stretch for 5 to 30 seconds, making sure that you're breathing, and on the exhale, you can get a little deeper into the stretch. And then return to center. Whatever we do on one side, we want to do on the other side. So again, just turn our chin to the right. Make sure you're not tilting your head back or forward. And if you can't get all the way over your shoulders, so like on this side I'm a little tight, I can only go this far, just go as far as you're able, because a little stretch is better than not stretching at all. And over time, as you stick with these, you'll be able to stretch further. And then back to center. Our 8th stretch is one I need to do way more often than I actually do, but we're going to be stretching our chest muscles here. And we're going to find a doorway and place our arms at 90 degrees, so 90 degrees off my body, 90 degrees at my elbow, put it on the back side of the door frame, same with my other hand. Stand with my feet about in the doorway, make sure I'm standing with good posture, I'm not bending or tucking my tailbone in, but I'm standing straight, and we're just gonna gently lean forward, and lean forward until you feel a stretch. And yeah, I feel it right away, barely have to go forward at all. And then you can hold this stretch from 5 to 30 seconds. This is one you can also modify, where if you bring your hands up higher or down lower, it will stretch different muscles in different ways, but just really basic is to just start with basically arm shoulder level and lean into the stretch. Our 9th and final stretch is going to be a seated spinal twist. So of course you'll need a seat. A stool is actually really helpful for this because you don't have to worry about a chair back. So as with all these seated exercises, we want to make sure we're sitting with good posture. So I've got my feet about shoulders width apart. My feet are firmly planted on the floor. The seat's a good height for me. I'm not slouching. I'm keeping my back straight, my core engaged, and I'm keeping my shoulder blades back and down. So once we're kind of in this neutral position with good posture, it's time to do the spinal stretch. So I'm going to start by twisting to the left. So to twist to the left, we're going to take our right arm and cross it over both of our legs, so it's on the outside of our left thigh. Our right arm just go behind you. Again, like I said, if you have a chair or a chair back, it kind of gets in the way a little bit. And then we're just going to twist and look over our left shoulder. You may only be able to twist to here. You may be able to twist further than I am. Just the important thing to remember is don't twist so much that you have pain. Just go enough so that you feel a stretch, and make sure you're keeping that straight upright posture as we twist. Again, hold this for 5 to 30 seconds and then return to center. Once we do it to the left side, we're going to repeat on the right side. So take my left arm, cross it over to the outside of my right thigh, so it's on this side. My right arm goes behind me, and I'm going to twist so that my head looks over my right shoulder. Again, don't forget to breathe. Make sure that you're not pulling your shoulder blades up, but you're keeping them back and down. And just stretch as far as you are comfortably able. And then return to center. So there you have it. Those are 9 stretches that every crocheter should do. And even if you don't crochet, if you knit or you just do other crafting, these are really great stretches to help release some of the tension that we tend to hold when we start getting really focused in on a project. Make sure you come back for part 2 and part 3. Part 2 should be posted tomorrow, and we'll be showing 5 different strengthening exercises to build muscle, so that way we can hold ourselves with good posture when we're working on projects. And then part 3 I'll post 2 days from now, and that will be a routine putting together these stretches I taught today and the strengthening exercises I'll show tomorrow into one simple to follow routine that you can do every single day, so that way you can ensure you have good posture and release the tension that we tend to hold when we crochet or work on crafting projects. But if you found this video helpful, don't forget to let me know by leaving a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're not one of my subscribers already, and hit the bell notification so you'll know when I post part 2 and part 3. But I'll see you in the next video, and until then, happy crafting.